video. This is actually, I think, the second part of the YouTube portion. I think the first part we did was how to improve your YouTube. And because we've done this again, we actually asked people in our group, Geeks and Beauties group, and on social media, what questions do you want us to answer? And some people asked questions that we actually answered in the previous video that we did. So if you don't hear your answer today, make sure you watch that video, but you can always kind of come back and like comment below with questions that you would like us to answer, because this is an ongoing series, so we want to make sure that we are answering all the questions that you guys have to the best that we can answer. Okay, so I have the playlist below. I'm gonna kind of put down here who asked the question based on their Instagram handles, because I know most of these people, so I was able to look them up. But again, if you guys have any other questions, put it down below so we can do another video for you. The second thing is we are still thinking of starting a Patreon. As soon as we can get it together, it might be going. I do talk about the Patreon in the previous video, so if you are interested in that, and that's just going to be a really intense community. I wouldn't say like stressfully intense, but an intensive,
a focused.
Yes, that's a better word. To help you learn more about how to do social media and come along on this journey about really being serious about advancing your social media. I mean, again, we are not experts in this subject. This is just stuff that we have learned from reviewing for, 7 or 8 years, from doing YouTube for almost 3 years. Like this is, and doing websites and SEO and graphics for a very long time. So this is just stuff that we are going to share with you from what we have learned, from what we've researched, what's happening now, what are the current trends, and going forward into the future, what we've heard is gonna be happening, and maybe things that we've thought of that you'd be like, you can try this. So again, subscribe if you don't wanna miss any of that, because this is kind of a new and exciting thing we're taking.
YouTube is constantly changing. They're always trying to up their game, so you have to up your game with it. And we're still learning, so this research might come in handy for us too.
Exactly. All right, so where do we want to start?
Well, the first question.
So the first question is from Mommy's War Paints on Instagram. You're gonna see it right here. She also has a YouTube channel, but she was asking about analytics and what is the best way to read your analytics on YouTube and interpret that to help you.
So we've done a little bit of looking on that, and you're gonna have two main sections on your analytics. One is your view reports, and another is your engagement reports. And there's a few things that are really important out of that, and some things that really don't need to know. It used to be that they were important, but not anymore. When you're looking at your views reports, you really want to look at your average watch time to see just how long each person is watching. When you go through that, you want to try and make sure that your videos from that point on are about that length, so that you're going to maximize your retention. We'll get onto that later.
I also have to kind of break in and note that do not take this as gospel truth of what you should do. Because for example, our watch time is relatively low. Like people come in, they kind of hang out for a little bit and then they leave. And I don't know why, because we have really good content through our videos. But I don't care. So I know that there is a certain point where people drop off, but on the other hand, I'm gonna do the video that I want to do and the video that I know that my audience wants to do. So it's just something to keep in mind. It's not something to really be like, I have to stop my video at 5 minutes because that's when people are leaving. No, just maybe around 5 minutes, make something that is like really exciting to make people wanna watch it past the 5 minute mark.
That's another really good idea. Just try and keep people's retention. Typically people's ability to retain their attention is equal to the length of time in years they've been alive. That's how many, I got that completely mixed up. The number of minutes equal to their age. There you go.
All right.
So apparently we have a lot of 5-year-olds watching.
I don't know.
Another really important view report is your traffic sources. This is going to tell you where you're getting everybody coming in from. And that way you can kind of try and target a little bit more of what your videos are, who you're talking to, based off of where they're coming from. And very similar to that, right underneath it is devices. So you're going to see whether they're coming from iPhone users, whether they're coming from Android users, the computer, from television, stuff like that. Because Roku does YouTube as well. And you can kind of target a little bit more for those, maybe see if you need to up your resolution if you need to.
So basically, let's go back to where are people finding your videos? So for example, for ours, people seem to, like over 50%, I don't really remember what the percentage is, but over 50% of the people come to this channel through suggested videos. So how do you get your video on a suggested video? Well, people need to like your video, and that's why we ask people in every video, please like. It's not just some catchy phrase, people are like, comment, subscribe. No, because every time someone comments, or every time someone likes, or every time someone shares, your video is more likely to go into a suggested video in the genre of what it is. Now, if you're doing videos that not a lot of people are doing, and someone like comes on to maybe like a different person but the same topic, and not a lot of people on YouTube have that topic, your video is going to go a lot higher in suggested searches than if you're doing the same video that everyone else is doing with the same tags. And it's kind of a catch-22 if you think about it that way, because you want to have a lot of good tags so that people find you. You want tags that people are searching for. But on the other hand, if you have a lot of tags that the same people are searching for, you are probably going to get lost in the shuffle of the type of video that everyone is doing, which is why you have to put your own unique spin on it.
And that actually brings us to the other section, and that's the engagement reports. When you're dealing with the engagements reports, you have the rates of how many times people are commenting, sharing, and looking at your annotations. These are going to be the real the real measure of how people are reacting to you. And when people share, like, and subscribe, that's going to bring your rank up, and you're going to show up a little bit more often, because that means that your video is more relevant to people searching for what you're doing. When you're dealing with the annotations, this is going to further kind of help you figure out which videos are taking people where you want them to go, and will come in handy when we talk about CPM, which is really important for monetization. So that kind of answered that question, you think?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one that we have, that she actually asked 3 questions, and the second question she asked is tags. She just said talk about tags. It wasn't really like a question. Okay, so let me say a little bit about tags, and then you can kind of do what your research is. So for me personally, I have the hardest time with tags. I start making lists in my bullet journal of tags that I've used before and that I've seen come up a lot. I use this one like program, I cannot remember if it's called like Firelink or something. I cannot remember, but I'll post it down below. But basically you can go in there and you can search for tags. So like, let's say if you're doing a video on Birchbox, you would go in there and you can type into the YouTube tab Birchbox, and all of the frequently searched for phrases will come up, and then you can use that in your tag box. But like I said before, as far as tag goes, it's kind of weird, because you know, you want people to find your stuff, but you want to use tags that people want to find, but that not 30 million people are using. And that's kind of the same across your social media as well. So you don't get lost in the shuffle.
So what that basically means is you want to have enough tags to really describe what you're doing properly, but not too many so you don't get lost. Okay? Another program I've got on my phone is Let's Tag, and that's been very helpful for me when I need to do tagging. You want to make sure that the title that you have, some of the tags might be in there. That's going to increase your searchability, and if you are one of those kinds of people that have time to add a transcript and captions, put it in there too, because those are searchable.
Yes. One of the other things that kind of came up in our Geeks and Beauties group as we were talking about it is someone asked, should we put tags in the description box? At first I was like, well, that's an interesting question. Like, that would seem like it would work because your description box is searchable, your tags are searchable, and your title is searchable. However, someone came back and said, actually, you can get in trouble for putting tags in your description box, because they will like either deactivate your video or you'll get a warning or something. It's like against their terms of service. So make sure you're only putting tags in the tag box, and make sure when you're in the description box, you can still write out like a paragraph of, you know, I am doing a Birchbox unboxing. So a Birchbox unboxing might be in your tags, but it's also in your description box. You're just not listing tags. So does that make a difference as to what you're doing?
This is kind of an SEO trick, search engine optimization, for those of you who are not in the marketing group. SEO is where you're trying to make sure that your content comes up more often. And you're going to do that by having those tags, but those words that are in your tags are also part of the sentences that you are saying. That's going to make sure that that the search engines will go, okay, this really is talking about that. They're not just throwing it in there for the heck of it.
Exactly. All right, so the last question that she asked is where to advertise. And this is something that I'm still trying to search for effectively. I know kind of the best ways to get my stuff out there, and honestly that's what this whole video series is about, is how to get your stuff out there and improve it. So I would say if we're talking about YouTube right now, where I personally advertise is Pinterest. I try to find groups that fit within my niche, or like, I don't know, I want to find groups that are more engaging and not just link dropping, because link dropping groups on Facebook don't really help that much, I've noticed. I never see a bump in my views when I go to other groups that I haven't been active in and just stick stuff in there. So I've stopped doing that. I think it's a waste of my time. It might not be a waste of your time if you have really engaging looking videos, but for me, I don't know, I'm always on this like self-doubt, because I'm like, well, people don't really like watching me, but I feel like I have really good content and I feel like I have a really professional looking video, but I'm still only averaging between 50 and 100 views only. I know some of you are like, only? But yeah, for me, I'm only averaging 50 to 100 views a video, and unless it's a really popular topic. So I don't know, for me, I am probably the worst to ask this question. However, this is definitely something that we are going to cover in our Patreon. So I would say, let's discover that together.
There are also some types of groups that are in YouTube itself where you can join up, and the group kind of collates the videos between the different people and acts as a linking between them. But most of the time these groups will also take a portion of your revenue from YouTube. So that can hurt you when it comes to revenue, but increase your viewability. So I think things like, the one that I know of is the game theorists and the film theorists. So.
All right, so our next question is coming from actually two people. They asked the same question. Val the Rizzle and Bottled Up Chai. They both asked about our equipment, prices, and where to find it. So what we're gonna do is we're going to cut away and show you a little tour of our shooting area. And everything that you see in here, we will link down below with prices and links and almost everything we found on Amazon. I'm just saying. So if you're looking for anything that you want for filming, Amazon is a great place to go. So we're gonna cut there real quick and then we'll be right back. All right, so we wanted to give you a quick tour of the room in which we film in. This is what it looks like. We kind of have it divided into two sections. We have the We Are Recording section. Actually, it's three sections. The We Are Recording section, the music section, and the exercise section. So up here on the wall, we have some records that my husband wanted to put up, and then Marshall is demonstrating our exercise bike. Okay, and then I'm gonna kind of come back to the filming portion in a minute, but like over here, this is the only light we have in the room. This is kind of a storage room too, so we got some leftover like packing supplies, and then over there you can kind of see my husband's guitars, Marshall's bass, and some amplifiers over there. And then here, this is the studio lights and the studio area that we use to film. So in the back there, you're gonna see the curtain. That is the one that we got at Target because the lattice is kind of our signature thing. You're gonna see this backboard here, which we did find outside of our apartment in the trash. So we were like, hey, this is good. So we cleaned it up and we're using it as a backboard. And then this is, of course, the mascot, Hershey the Traveling Moose, and he's gonna start being in our videos more often. And then we got these little stools from Ikea. We get everything from Ikea. They were like $15 a piece. We had been looking for like a bench so that we didn't have to keep putting the chairs in and out of the room, like to set up every time we filmed. So we found these. Now we can just keep them in here, which is great for when my husband jams over there. He has stools. Okay, so we're gonna come around here now. And you can see there's Marshall's computer and a little desk for filming, his phone and his Starbucks that he gets every week when we film. Oh, I did want to point out that picture. That is a picture that my grandmother painted, and so we have it up in here for fun. And then for my section, we have this little table also from Ikea, and we have, you know, stuff to do our next video. So up here, I did want to bring up the lights. So these two studio lamps that you're going to see here and there, those are Cowboy Studio lamps, and I'm going to put the link for all of this down below, but you can get everything that I'm talking about off Amazon. So those were the first ones we got. We actually used to use natural light, but it just wasn't enough. As you can tell, we have really small windows in our apartment, so it was really hard to have the light. So we use these ones right here for the first ones we ever used. Then we ended up getting this Diva lamp that you see right here, and this cover is actually fairly new. So this lamp, this stand, this little thing right here that holds the camera on, and this were all purchased separately. And if you are like, okay, I can't afford any of this, you know, just buy it in pieces. Like maybe you only need these lamps, and that's fine. You can just get like a regular tripod for your camera. I'll put all the prices and everything down below so that you can record it. However, this Diva lamp, this is an 18-inch Diva lamp. It's by a company called Neewer. It's N-E-E-W-E-R. And they don't make this model anymore, but they do have a 14-inch, so it's a little smaller, and another 18-inch of a different model, and I will put those links below. And as far as the camera, we're using a Sony A5000 for shooting right now. We do want to bump it up to a Canon, either a T5i or a T6i. But ever since we put this little cover on our light, our camera has not overheated as much as it used to. So that's a good thing. So we're gonna keep monitoring that and see how we do. So that is basically the equipment, and we're gonna go back and tell you, you know, what you're going to need for the rest of your YouTube. Okay, so that is basically a tour of our shooting space. It is constantly being redone, and we try to always strive to make it a little bit better each time we do it.
I like my stool.
It is very nice. It makes me like sit up straight, because we used to have these like desk chairs. Okay, so our last question of this video is going to be from Curvy Barbie. She asked, is it beneficial to have an upload schedule when you first start out at YouTube, or is this something that you can adopt later on? And I have to say, it's probably beneficial if you start that way. It couldn't hurt. But most of the time, if your viewers can come to expect from you that you are organized and that you are maintaining stability when it comes to your upload schedule, then I would say it probably would help you gain people. I did not have an upload schedule when I was first starting out, and in some cases I think that may have hurt me a little because I lost a lot of subscribers and views because they weren't really sure when I was putting stuff up.
Yeah, but do remember, you are also growing. So if your schedule has to change, let people know, put up a video about it on the time that you should have put it on, and tell them where the new schedule is going to be. People do this on television all the time. Or
even just say, you know, this is what's going on in my life. Like, just do a little personal blog, which can't hurt at all, because a lot of times people want to know what's going on in your life personally. So you might actually get a bump if you come on and say, look guys, I'm having this happen to me, I'm going through a hard time. So I would say, you know, just be honest. Do what you can do. But should one of your goals be a stable upload schedule? Sure.
Yes, right from the get-go. Try and plan that out. And remember, when you start doing it, you're going to find that there are challenges in your life and in your filming that is going to morph that. It's going to happen. We've changed our shooting schedule rather often, but our upload schedule is on a timer, so it's always going to stay.
It's always gonna, well, for right now, it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then there might be a bonus Sunday video depending on if I have something that I want to post. So I do
if you've been
at least 3.
Boys and girls.
That's right. That is right. All right, so that almost wraps it up. I do have a question from Christina Saunders. She's from Fierce Glen Mom. Her question is, can you give me the best tips and tricks? Well, I think this entire series is the best tips and tricks of YouTube, but I want you guys to stay tuned for part 3 because it's all about how to make money on YouTube, which a lot of, that's like number one, everyone's question, how do you make money on YouTube? Guess what, guys, we're gonna go over that, and that will kind of answer her question as well, because the best tips and tricks will help you make money on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching. Remember to stay tuned for part 3, and until next time,
stay zany.
Bye-bye.